Hey guys, I'm coming to you again, back at the OC, don't call it that. Walking under the Oregon City Railroad trestle. I produced a video on that. Don't know if it's going to be posted by the time I post this one, but either way, you've either seen that there's a video about that or you're going to see a video about that. But I want to do something a little fun today, a little searching. I made my own shitty map because I want to know exactly where this stuff is, and I'm not going to write down all the individual addresses, but I'm going to go through what is essentially Old Town Oregon City, down here in the valley and up on the edge of the ridge up there, the oldest parts of Oregon City near the river. And I'm going to find, based on my researches on the Oregon Historical Database, again, a great source, I'm going to try to find the oldest houses in this town. Every house you see today will predate 1880. So, let the great experiment begin! Excuse me. Steve the Amateur Historian. Alright, so before we get too far into this thing, I'm just going to let you know, this isn't an exact science. I just marked out coordinates on a map. I don't remember exactly what which house looks like, the exact place where it is. I just marked it as well as I could, so there may be a few mistakes on my part, and if they are, I'll live up to them and I'll show you the right house. And actually, this is a really old house here too. But yeah, oh, this is the one I'm looking for. This house dates back, and it looks like they've done a lot of work on it, which is awesome. This house right here dates back to the 1860s. I want to say 1867. Again, I just had to take these all down really quickly. Anyone that predated 1880, I marked. But I'm pretty sure this house dates back to at least 1867. I'm now coming to the corner of Adams and 11th Street because we've got another awesome old house dating back again pre-1880. Yeah, I mean, this road's just scattered with old houses. Up here is a pretty cool old one, but yeah, this one right here, I'll get the name for you, is the oldest of the bunch in this particular, block. Look at the backside of the roof, the way it swoops down so much, it's so cool. And what's interesting about this house, this one doesn't have any kind of historical landmark. Like, a lot of these old houses have markers on them, and this one doesn't. It almost looks abandoned. I think it's just kind of beat up, but there's a bunch of stuff in front. There's no cars here, no signs of life. I don't know. So this one looks more like a private residence. But yeah, this house up here really doesn't look that old. But yeah, this is one of the older ones at the corner of 11th and Jefferson. This is kind of cool on the backside. But yeah, to the southeast side. And so brings us to the greatest house in all of Oregon City. Fixer-upper. Their house may be ugly as shit, but they'll be damned if they're not going to have the biggest satellite dish in the whole city. Need a place to film your next horror film? I got a few ideas.
Hey baby, hey baby. Hi darling. Meow.
Oh, she's sweet. You baby. So now I'm on the horsey. I'm on the main drag along 7th Avenue. Gonna walk up to 7th and Van Buren Street to see our next house. So once again, I've proven myself to be an idiot when it comes to mapping properly. I had the house I was looking for marked right where this driveway is, which leads me to believe that it's actually this house right here. Man, so the stuff back here was really old, but I am processing to my next home, approaching the intersection of Van Buren and on 6th Street. Up to the intersection, and look at that. And look at that one. That is, it's got all the rustic qualities, like the windows that have been poorly painted. Oh man. So as we process down, we come to Madison and 6th, and we have, looks like it says the J.M. Bacon House. Yeah, you can tell that one's old just by the general structure. So kind of similar to that one other house we saw, they have the really deep swooping downward rooftop on the back side. Seems to have just been the style of the time. We are now on Madison between 4th and 5th Streets, looking westbound. And even though all these houses are fairly old, this particular one right here is the oldest one on the stretch. So we got another old piece with a very interesting attraction. We have a completely decimated, gutted out garage. Anyway, on we go. Kind of an interesting stretch. One part up here, one part down there. I'm still technically on Madison, just past 3rd, right there. And I'm passing up these few houses to show you this yellow one right up here. This is another of the oldest houses in the bunch. I'm starting to really notice like this real correlation, because there's so many houses here that were built pre-1900 that are still really old, but the really, really old ones, you can kind of see there's a very upright, symmetrical simplicity to all of them. Now we're a block down, walking down Jefferson from the intersection at 3rd to show you this almost purpley tinted home up here. Another one of the oldest in Oregon City. Yeah, you see this very, very thin, upright, very straight look. This is very, very common to homes between like 1870 or about 1840 and 1880. A lot of houses were built like this. So now I'm looking at Jefferson and 3rd from the opposite direction to show you this awesome gem here. And again, this is a private residence, so I'm not going to get too close, but this is another one of the oldest houses in Oregon City, even though it looks like a lot of updating has been done on it. And it says according to this sign that this is the Howell House, and I've noticed that there's more than one, so it may just be a prominent citizen who owned multiple houses, or it may be different Howells. And now I'm only one block further down, going between 4th and 5th on Jefferson to show you another. Wow, look at this house. This house isn't on my list. I believe this looks like it looks like it says 1913. But nah, the one I want to see is this beauty over here. My God. It's just so, look at the columns. God, so great. This may honestly be my favorite so far, and it looks like I'm seeing a lot of, it looks very emptied upstairs, so it looks like this one may be having some work done on it. I can see a ladder in that middle window. It's kind of cool, little garage setup, but I am coming to the intersection of 3rd and Center to show you another beautiful gem. Here we go. It says this is the Milne house, or Milne. And even with its own unique construction style, this house still has very much that upright, symmetrical, got the really cool kind of angled tops on the windows that I've been noticing, kind of decorative window tops that have been characteristic of a lot of these houses I've been seeing. We even got one I missed. Look at this, the H.W. Ross house. Built in 1879. It just barely fits in with my standards. And I believe this one right here is another gem. Look at how cute and tiny it is. Yep, I'm at High and 4th Street. According to my markers, this be where the house is supposed to be. Yeah, look at that. See, again, it's got all those characteristics. The very straight upward angles, the arched rooftops, very symmetrical. You've even got the little door into the basement, and the basement's actually like exposed because the house is so elevated. We are now trekking down Center Street between 5th and 6th to see this beauty right over here. then just around the corner from the Miller House, we're going to turn down 6th in between Center Street and Washington Street, because we got another one to see that I believe is this charming little devil of a home right here. And it looks like there's someone living here, so I don't want to get too close. This is the Jagger House, 1880. Just barely reaches my requirements. And of course, just a short distance down from the last house we saw, I saved the best, well, the oldest for last. Because what trip through Old Town Oregon City, looking at houses in particular, will be complete without the John Mclaughlin house. Now, I hate saying the name John Mclaughlin because that's also my stepfather's name and he's an asshole dickhead. But this guy was different. This guy was awesome and pretty prominent in the community, and this is his house, built in 1846. And if you look at the structure, I mean, if you know the structural history, even in the western United States over the course of time, you'll look at this house and think this is very 1840s, 1850s. Just square structure with a roof that kind of comes together at an almost point, you know. Rectangular windows, individual square pieces, simple door in the middle. Very standard. And alas, all the curtains are drawn, so I can't look inside, but I mean, they do have tours of the place, so if you want to visit it and look inside, you can look into that. Cool big chimney sticking out of the top. And while the Mclaughlin house is probably the most prominent home, if not the oldest, in Oregon City, the second oldest house is right next to it. This is the Barclay House, built in 1849, and they're right next door to each other. Fortunately, being such a prominent site, they've managed to keep this house in pretty stellar condition. But if you walk between that and the Barclay House, you actually come to, this is the grave of Dr. John Mclaughlin and his wife. This is where they were buried, right next to their home. And these headstones are they're so weathered. But yeah, there's John Mclaughlin to the right, Margaret Mclaughlin to the left. John Mclaughlin died September 1872, Margaret last day of February 1860. That's interesting, he outlived his wife. It's a rarity nowadays, but it was especially a rarity back then.